Hi, I'm Scott Humphrey, CEO of the World Floor Covering Association, and this is Leadership Live. Well, I hope you had a wonderful, blessed, relaxing Thanksgiving. I hope you were able to take some time and be thankful and think of the things, even in this crazy year, that you had to be thankful for. I want to shift gears with us a little bit and begin to introduce you once again to great leaders. And I've had the privilege of meeting many in my tenure, not only as CEO of the World Floor Covering Association, but also in previous 25 years at Shaw Industries. Many of them I worked alongside, many of them invested in me. But one that I admire who may not even know that I have this admiration for him is Harris Rosen, the owner of Rosen Hotels and Resorts in Orlando, Florida. He's an amazing man. If you look him up on Wikipedia, you'll see all about his philanthropic edge and what he does to give back to his community and what he does for his people. Let me tell you a little bit of his story, and I hope that you'll glean some things from this that you can apply to your life, especially as you're making your 2021 New Year's resolutions. What an opportunity to grow off of a year that had many challenges. Harris Rosen in the early 1970s, during the oil embargo, was working at Disney. He was over the hotels there and worked in the hotel management portion of that. He goes in one day thinking that he may be promoted and actually is let go because his vision was not in line with theirs. Imagine an organization as creative as Disney, but his vision was even greater than theirs. He had done a lot of hotel management research and background. His education was in that, and he knew this is what he wanted to do. And as he's driving back, he passes a hotel that has a for sale sign on the outside. He pulls in, and if I remember the story correctly, the lady behind the desk, when he walked in and said, "Is the owner here?" said, she started crying and said, "Are you going to buy a hotel?" And long story short, that's exactly what he did. He did everything. He was the plumber, he worked the front desk, he did all responsibilities. But one day he had an idea that made him different, that even besides the vision that Disney had already acknowledged was much greater than many, he had this idea to get customers in. So most hotels at this point are running about 15% to 20% capacity. He knew he could not sustain that way. So he asked a friend to come and manage the hotel for a week, and he hitchhiked up to the Northeast where the tour buses were originating that were still bringing people down to Central Florida. And when he got there, he went around and met with the tour bus drivers. And he handed them a card and he said, "Write down what you're willing to pay for a room, and I will honor that for life." And I'm told he still does. That these bus drivers, that they come down and show the card, he still gives them that room rate. Mr. Rosen was wise enough to understand that if a tour bus driver stays at my hotel, there's a pretty good chance that some of the people on the bus will as well. But it also meant that if he treated them right, they would carry his story for him back to the other tour bus drivers, and it would become viral. In that time, what was viral? Mr. Rosen went on to build Rosen Shingle Creek Resort, one of my favorite hotels, and I've been blessed to stay at some of the nicest in the world. But Rosen Shingle Creek is different. Part of that is because of the people. So let me give you some principles about Mr. Rosen I think you can apply. And if you'll go back and research him, I believe you'll find others that you'll apply to your life. Number one, I would tell you to maintain focus. So he gets let go at Disney, a time when many would hunker down, especially during the oil embargo, and say, "Well, this is maybe not the career for me." But he was committed that that was what he wanted to do, and he found another way to do it. Mr. Rosen sees speed bumps. He doesn't see roadblocks, and that's what makes him different. Maybe his greatest attribute is he surrounds himself with greatness. I've been blessed to get to know some of the people that work and manage his hotels, and they are amazing people. They become dear friends because they genuinely care about the people that come there. They want their experience to be different, to be the utmost compared to anywhere else they could stay. So the second thing I would tell you about Mr. Rosen is to surround yourself with greatness. Third, I would tell you to shun the status quo. Again, I told you he could have hunkered down and done what most people were doing and been satisfied with very limited people staying at his hotel. But he wouldn't have been satisfied because he's not wired that way. Here's a man who's 81 years old, and last I checked, he still swims a couple of miles several days a week. He is in amazing shape. He is a leader both in his personal life and his professional life. The next thing I would tell you is he is phenomenal at giving back, not only to his community, but to his people. The people that work at the Rosen properties want to stay at the Rosen properties because of the way they're treated. If you want customers to want to come in your store, treat the people that deal with them greatly. Then they will treat their customers greatly. But you've got to be willing to give back, and he does that through health care, through education supplements. He's just an amazing man when it comes to that. People that work for Mr. Rosen want to stay. And the last thing I would tell you is not to be satisfied, but to exceed expectations. No matter what the expectation is, I can tell you Mr. Rosen is not satisfied. I've been at the properties before at the hotels and seen him walking around picking up pieces of trash that may have fallen on the ground. And he's just that way. Excellence is what he is committed to in every aspect of his life. That's Harris Rosen. I hope you get an opportunity to research him, find out more about him, and research other great leaders and see what principles they've applied to their life that you also can apply to yours. Being a great leader is not something that just happens one day. It's an investment we make by looking at others who have lived that life and implementing the strategies in their life that we can apply to ours. So maintain your focus. Surround yourself with greatness. Don't be satisfied with the status quo. Give back and exceed expectations. And then go out there and lead.